This is Josh. I'm Jeremy. We're trying to figure out life right now.
We are.
That's for sure. Nothing's more accurate. So if you're in the same boat, you'll probably get a lot of benefit from this podcast.
Best way to figure out your life is do a podcast.
Yeah, you learn a lot about yourself. Stuff just kind of comes out.
Yeah.
And like it's there. And I think when you have to articulate it just, and then you go back and you listen to it, you're like, oh, I said that. That lives on forever now. And there's a public accountability to it.
Yeah, it's true. Well, this is How Stupid People Succeed. I'm Josh. This is Jeremy. And welcome to our podcast.
So making memories with your family.
Yeah.
Very important.
It is.
I had a great life-changing moment. And I'll give props out to the great Tim Prater and Colleen Denton-Prater. She's a doctor, so she got to have that in there. But we had the privilege of doing a little guys thing because her dad has a boat, and so we were on a boat. And I was talking to him about, just family and stuff like that. And he said something to me that really stuck with me. He said, you know why you take vacations? I was like, well, yeah, because, you're stressed out and you need to, relax and take some time. He goes, no, that's not why you take vacations. So you take vacations because it's an opportunity to centralize your family's attention. I thought that's so brilliant. And in the pace of life, when you introduce kids to your reality, it's, are we taking enough time to really focus in on each other? Because there's so many distractions every day. And so capturing those memories is something that you can just kind of hope happens, or you can at least try to be a little bit more intentional. Yeah. And you are much better at taking time and taking vacations than I am. I don't think we do it
I'll lose my mind if I don't.
Yeah. But for you, how do you try to instill, I want to make memories and capture these moments?
Well, to me, it kind of goes back to my upbringing as well. Everything's kind of sourced as, like what did we do as kids and all that fun stuff. And, I really, I guess my thought growing up was, like the one memory that I can think of for like vacationing would be, one time my mom and I and my sister, we went down to Daytona Beach.
During bike week?
During bike week.
No,
it was during bike week. Yeah.
Your childhood is so sad.
Yeah.
You're literally a walking miracle.
It was during bike week, as a matter of fact.
And you've never been to prison?
I've never been to prison.
And you have a job?
I do. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is unbelievable to me.
But, so I think about those things. But, I don't really specifically remember what we did on the vacation. But I remember that we went. And then I remember we didn't stay the whole time. But I don't remember why.
Because somebody got stabbed.
It could have been bike week.
And somebody had to get out of town.
Yeah. But, but a lot of my time growing up, it was spent on the lake. My dad had a boat during the summers when we'd go up and visit him. We'd always go out on the lake, so with skiing and tubing and all that fun stuff. But just being outside and being together, those are where those memories in my formative years, kind of source from. And for me, it's important to have those relationships because I know I'm busy. I know my work schedule is chaotic, and taking those times to those meaningful times to spend with my family is critically important, because they are my number one in life, and if I'm not taking the time for them, then I'm not balanced, then I'm not healthy, and I'm not going to be effective at work. I'm not going to be an effective friend. I'm not going to be an effective husband or an effective father. So being able to carve out those times and spend with them and do my best to fully commit and be there is definitely a priority of mine. And doing those things, you have a lot of, obviously you have a lot of amazing memories. And, one of our favorite places to go is Mexico. Love going to Mexico. We go, at least once a year. I think I've been to Mexico once a year since at least 2007 when it was the first time we went. But, but that kind of got me hooked on it. It was when I graduated college. The gift that my dad and his wife got me is they took me and Amanda, who was my fiance at the time. It was right before we got married. Or no, actually, it was right after we got married. So we were already married when we went there. We went to Puerto Vallarta. And, but it was just like, that's, when we're there, it just felt like, home, and like being able to have that first experience with my wife, being in that place it's been attractive for us to continue going back and making a point to do so. Because doing so allows me to unplug. And, I know you're really good about going up to the lake on the boat. That's your opportunity to unplug. So what was the most attractive thing about, one of the cool things that you guys may not know, or you may not even care to know about?
Gosh.
Should we share it?
I know.
Why?
You do you. God bless you.
Yeah. So Jeremy and I and another friend who will name nameless until he's on the podcast anyway, we actually have a 3-way ownership of a boat. And we have it up at the lake. So it is our getaways during the week or the weekends where we don't have the opportunity, right? And this was a big thing for you.
It's huge.
Because I wanted to keep it here in Central Ohio.
Yeah.
That was my priority because it's a lot easier for me to take a half hour and go down to Allen Creek.
Yeah.
But you guys initially wanted to take the boat up to Lake Erie.
Yeah.
And why?
Yeah. So family rhythms are different. Your family rhythm is spot, chunk. Spot, chunk. Our family rhythm is like the medium size, more frequent medium size window. So long weekends is basically what we kind of do. I really struggle when I'm in an environment for 4 or 5 days. I'm like, I need to get back. Like, I want to get back. I want to get going. I don't want to be here anymore. You know what I mean? It's weird because like I get there and I can just go into super chill mode. But then when I wake up on that like 4th or 5th day, if I'm there, it's like I got what I needed. I feel rested. I feel relaxed. I feel good. I want to get back. And I was surprised because we've never taken this much time as a family this frequently before, but we definitely made a ton of just mini vacations out of it, 2-3 days, whatever. Yeah. And it was phenomenal because we were able to find an environment where we could all kind of express ourselves recreationally, have that time together, have that central focus where there's not really a lot of outside distractions. When the sun's beating down on you and you're at the beach or you're swimming, it's not like you're on your iPad or not like you're super concerned about what text message you came in. So it's a natural element to just slow us down. And I think for me in those moments, I just try to do a really good job of just engaging with my children. So for me, creating the memories is like, I can't dictate when that snapshot is solidified in their brain. I can't control that no matter what I do. I can take them to Disney. I can take them to the Eiffel Tower. I can take them in a hot air. I can do all those things. And I can't solidify that magical moment where they just have this, sealed positive memory of something we did as a family. But the one thing I can do is I can try to be as engaged as possible. Yeah. So even when we go do stuff, it's not about like, oh, dad's going to go off here and do his thing and then the kids are going to do their thing or whatever. Like we try to keep us together in that moment, especially with Anchor. That becomes a challenge in itself because he's a mini Tasmanian devil. If you take your eyes off of the cartoon, not like the real animal, but the cartoon. But if you take your eyes off, really? You got to have your eyes on him. He's all boy, and he's pretty fearless, and so you better watch him. So he's still a good amount of work, or at least this past summer, but still, the time that we had together and what it did for us and our family and the stress level and everything was pretty phenomenal, and it really taught me. And unfortunately, I just learned this. I didn't learn this before, but it really taught me the value of getting your family away. Yeah. And for some people, like a trip to Mexico kind of sounds like, especially with where Anchor's at right now, like it kind of sounds like a nightmare. You're going to, different airports, you're out of the country.
I'm taking a 14-month-old.
Yeah.
I took a 6-week.
Well, you're taking reinforcements though too. The reinforcements help. So if I'm not going without reinforcements, I don't want to go. Yeah. But it can be anything. It can be a walk. So one of the things we did a lot over summer when the weather's nicer is after dinner, we just go for a family walk and just walk around our neighborhood a little bit. And the intimate communication and kind of the I don't know how you say it, but almost like the warm affection you start getting out of your family in that time frame, I think matters a lot.
Oh yeah,
and so,
absolutely.
And so then even like with the holidays, one thing that we try to do is we try to be very intentional about the 12 days of Christmas. And again, it's not that it has to be this big ordeal. Sometimes it's we bake cookies. Sometimes it's we make homemade popcorn and we watch a movie, stuff that almost anybody and everybody can do. But for us, it's about saying, how do we maximize this moment for our children and for each other and really devote that attention. And maybe that's a better way to put it, is because so much of our attention is split with all the other responsibilities we have that you really have to be intentional with your family about coming back and spending that time. Yeah. So what are some plans for you as your children get older and kind of their interests grow and change? How are you going to keep kind of evolving the making memories?
Phenomenal question, actually. So as you were talking, honestly, I wasn't really listening. I was just thinking about some of the amazing...
How stupid people succeed.
But it was, I'm thinking about, I think about the amazing memories that we had, that we've had with our kids on vacation. It just, like both kids learned to swim in Mexico. Mm-hmm. And then, I don't know why it's one of my favorite memories, but it wasn't on vacation. But we were sitting there, and my little daughter Claire, she's 5 years old. And, she loves to play on the phone. She loves to go through pictures. So she's through she can figure out how to open up Snapchat mm-hmm. and do all the filters and take pictures and selfies and all that fun stuff. But she also goes and she looks through the pictures, right? And so she's always very good about finding the pictures when we're on vacation. And there's this one picture specifically where she's on like a little waterfall, and I'm standing below. I'm trying to get her to jump to me. She doesn't have a life jacket on, so obviously our hope is she jumps in, she can swim, and it's gonna scare her to death. She's gonna want to swim to me, and and she goes, "Look, Daddy, you remember this? This is when I learned to swim." I was like, "God, man, that's what it's about." Yeah, being able to capture those things and remember those things, because it's we're there last time. I had I think I had like the iPhone 9 or 10 or whatever, but
I don't think they made a 9, buddy.
9, okay, well, 10
from 8 to X,
or the X, yeah, that's what it was. Anyway, and I was under the
assumption, very different than the Roman numerals for 9,
10, whatever.
I can see how you get those confused.
Yeah, I'm not Roman. Anyway, but I was.
I'm not a Roman.
So on a resort at the pool, there isn't a. So there's no Wi-Fi or anything like that. Okay. So basically, like I'm going blind, right? Which is good, so I can disconnect and I can be with my family. But I got this moment, so the kids they have their goggles, they're doing flips mm-hmm. in the water and doing all that fun stuff. And like, I thought I remember one time you told me a story about you were at the boat,
don't go into too much detail on that one.
Anyway, so you jumped in the water, you had the phone in your pocket, you came back up, phone was working fine.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm thinking, so that phone is water resistant, right? Or waterproof? And I was like, cool, yeah, great. So like, I'm sitting there in the pool, the kids are, my son, like, he'll do a flip under the water and then he'll turn around and he'll dab underwater. And I was, so like, I got my phone.
What's a dab? What do you mean a dab? How do you do that? What are you talking about?
I don't know. Ask him. He's 7.
Well, he did it. What do you mean? What's a dab?
Stop.
What is it? I don't know. Do it.
Oh, you know exactly.
I don't know what you're talking about. What is it? Is it like a move?
Cam Newton.
A flip?
Yeah, it's Cam Newton, man.
So dab it out.
I don't know. I don't know how to dab.
But he showed you.
Yeah, I can't look at the video evidence anymore because it was underwater and I got it. And it was a great video. And then about 15 minutes later, my phone just kerplunked. So I'm in Mexico on my way back. I have no phone. And that was,
so iPhones are not waterproof.
Not that one, but this one is.
That one is waterproof.
This one is. So I made sure when I went into Apple last week, I asked him, I said, "Hey, I'm going to Mexico. Can I at least get a couple seconds of video underwater?" And he goes, "You can, but we're not going to guarantee it's not going to mess up." He goes, "But if it does, we'll replace it. But just know you still run that same risk, you idiot."
Yeah, I'm sure he ended it with that.
It was so good. The videos were so good, and but because I wasn't connected to Wi-Fi, it didn't sync. So like it didn't sync on the iCloud. Man,
why don't you just put your phone in a plastic baggie and zip it and then record underwater?
That makes
Hindsight's
sense.
2020.
That makes sense.
Yes. How stupid! We have so appropriately named this podcast. Good luck coming up with a better title for this podcast. There's not a human being. There's not a creative element in the face anywhere. Go get them.
Yeah.
Go get George Lucas. Bring it on, George.
Yeah. What is your favorite memory that you made with the kids on vacation, or Brittany as well? What happens behind closed doors? We'll leave that.
Hey. Yeah. So. My favorite
great marriage.
My favorite memory, I think with Britt, when we took a trip, yeah, okay, so a favorite memory. Probably just having the time anytime that we're alone and and we know it's just the two of us and we can kind of shift back to like date mode. So one of my favorite memories was there was this restaurant. It's a really cool little place or whatever. And we went up there and we didn't know this, but they had this huge like Oktoberfest event. It was huge. Like, it's just like this normal restaurant, little hill area, nice outdoor area or whatever. And we pull up and we thought because it was later in the season, it was getting colder. We thought, we'll be the only people here. And it was packed. And they had different vendors, different food. They had live music, just going crazy, and we absolutely just had a blast. And it was something that we looked at each other and like, we have to be here every year for this. It's just one of those beautiful moments as a married couple where you get to share that. And then with the kids, it's probably just watching my son be fearless and charge at about 100 birds sitting on the beach, screaming, yelling at them, and they all flew away. Yeah. And just seeing, the awe of being a little kid, and I think especially in males, kind of like testing physical limits, testing boundaries, seeing that happen with him. And then with my daughter, Sophia, it's sitting there, taking her, deeper into the water. Mm-hmm. She's holding on to me. And I said, what do you want to do or anything like that? And almost every time I ask her, it always comes back to just me, time with me. So those sweet moments that we're together and we're isolated, I just, I can't thank God enough for those moments because they're really special.
Those are great moments. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. For me, it was Amanda and I, it was probably one. So we have this setup now where my in-laws go with us on vacation, which is super nice. So we have that
lucky.
So we have that extra protection, that extra layer of defense. So if me and Amanda want to just scamper off from time to time, our in-laws are really good about that, about just watching the kids. And one of the times we had, we had a date night, and this was actually the last time we were on, or I think it was the last time where we were down in Mexico, but we went and had dinner. We went to the cabana, and then we just hung out, and we had a nice long walk back. It was just super nice, like boardwalk. It was just really nice and special to have that time together and alone, where you can have those conversations without the busyness of life and kids, biting your ankles and things like that. And for Evelyn, she's 14 months and she's already been on 2 Mexican vacations. And I remember when we set her, because the first time she went, she was 6 weeks old. And so we had to drive to Chicago to get her passport because obviously there wasn't enough time. So we went through the whole rigmarole of doing that. And just so she could go on vacation with us. And so that was a really good memory for her, really. And then, Claire, that memory I shared about her on top of the little waterfall and jumping in is one of my favorites. And then Rafe, just like you kind of equated to Anchor, is just being the daredevil. And so off that same little waterfall, he figured out how he can do a front flip. And this is the same time where he's learning to do just learning to swim. But he figures out, he goes, I'm going to do this. Worst case scenario, Dad grabs me.
Right.
And it's just, it's fun. And then obviously being able to play football with him on the beach, things like that. Mm-hmm. So a lot of great memories. It's really important. Obviously, we find it extremely important to take that time.
You got to be intentional.
Yeah, have to be intentional. Yeah. And if you don't schedule it, I know me especially, it
won't happen.
It's not going to happen.
Too.
It's not going to happen by accident, so you do need to be intentional. So hopefully you've realized that we are stupid. We're stupid, but we see success in life in these various areas. And I'm Josh. This is Jeremy. This is How Stupid People Succeed. Don't forget to like, share, comment. We're on Spotify, YouTube, hopefully Apple here soon. And remember, for the next maybe week or so, we're going to be trying to raise that $750 to Royal Family Kids, so we can send a camper to camp.
Yeah,
that's it. That's all we got. Thanks for stopping by. That's the new tagline.